Hello and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews, specifically to the Halloween special of No Nonsense Metal Reviews. So the spooky season is once again upon us. Although in the UK we don't tend to make as much of a big deal about it as they do in the States. I know it's a big festival, a big holiday in the States. Over here we tend to more just get teenagers not dressing up, asking for money, getting arrested outside the fish and chip shop for starting a fight. But this time of year is good for your spooky music. If you want to sit back and listen to some music about horror and zombies and all the good dark things, what a great time. What a great time for us all. And metal music provides a perfect playlist all round. This is my assistant today. So, 10 picks. We've got 10 albums here. My personal choices for my perfect kind of eerie. It might be spooky, it might just be because it's gory, it might be because it's just, well, Halloween based. I don't know. See what you think. I'll be interested. Okay. Number 10. Although these are in no order of preference, they're just 10 picks. 10 random picks. Seasons in the Abyss. Seasons in the Abyss. Okay, so 1990, Slayer. Heavy. This is an evil sounding record. I was personally really torn between this and Hell Awaits, which I personally think is one of the most evil sounding recordings ever laid down. That is a nasty piece of work. But this, I think, as I didn't want to necessarily go for the most obvious choices and just play it safe with certain things that might come up, wanted to branch out a little bit, and this is a nasty record. The riffs are so thick and sludgy and nasty, but it's got that thrash. It's a great album. I mean, War Ensemble, Blood Red. Blood, Halloween, perfect. Absolute ripping way to start an album. Spirit in Black, of course. Dead Skin Mask, what a creepy song that is. Hollow Point's Skeletons of Society. Got skeletons, bit of social awareness there as well. Born of Fire. And of course, Seasons in the Abyss. What a menacingly eerie, kind of hellish sounding song that is. Slayer, they do it so well. Masters of their art, and this is a nasty piece of work. Okay, let's take a doomier, dismally, deadly turn. I am, of course, talking about the one and only Autopsy. I could have gone for any of their records, to be honest. Even Shit Fun, that perfectly describes a lot of what goes on at Halloween. But, of course, The Headless Ritual, I believe this was, 2013. Still sounded nasty. The second of their return albums. Slaughter at Beast House. Perfect. Mangled Far Below. Oh, She Is a Funeral is one of the most nasty sounding songs I think they've ever put down. That's saying something. Coffin Crawlers. How much more Halloween appropriate can you get than that? But Hammer Meets Bone, Flesh Turns to Dust, Running from the Goat Head, The Headless Ritual, start to finish, kind of death, doom, raw, old school nastiness, perfect for the holiday season, fun for the whole family. Let your kids enjoy that one. Okay, so, Nwabum Legends, far later return than what we all would have liked, but of course, Angel Witch, this being their Angel of Light album, the first in a very, very long time. We all know that self-titled album. It's a classic. It's an absolute classic. We all love it. It's Nwabum. It's heavy metal embodiment. It's one of the best albums of its kind in that very niche subgenre. One of the best of the era. It's a fantastic classic, but this is a startling return to form. A heavy album. It's very doomy. There's a lot of Sabbath-esque kind of doomy metal in there. Death from Andromeda, We Are Damned, The Night is Calling, I Am Infamy, and if for no other song on the album, the closing track, if you can see there, Angel of Light. That is a nasty song. It is doomy, it's very driven. The riffs on this album are astoundingly good. It's just a brilliant album, and it's, I think, you know, with the Halloween, instinctively say Halloween, although I will say no Halloween in my list. I thought it was too much of a cheap choice. And I don't think Pink Bubbles Goes Ape is that appropriate for Halloween, although it is a shockingly, horrifyingly bad cover and an all-round strange choice. I won't go down that rabbit warren, but Angel of Light, awesome heavy album, awesome stuff, love it. What a good comeback. So we'll go with the classic now. Go with the classic, one that I think I probably would have struggled to omit from a list like this. I'm of course talking about 1985, which I thought it came later than it did. The classic, was it the first death metal album? Wasn't it? Don't know, don't care, because it's ripping. Possessed, Seven Churches. I've had a bit of a newfound love for this album since I've actually listened to it again for the first time in a while. Look at those guys. Metal as you like. Kind of reminds me of that early Slayer, Celtic Frost kind of imagery there. That's what they were obviously going for. And yeah, right on. You know, it worked for those guys for a little while. Ooh, too much glare. The Exorcist. What an entrance. Horror movies, great. Perfect for this time. Perfect. Thrashing, riffing. Oh man, just gives me goosebumps actually. The Exorcist, great start. Pentagram, Burning in Hell, Evil Warriors, Seven Churches, Satan's Curse, Holy Hell, Twisted Mind, Fallen Angel, Death Metal. This just oozes Halloween, but not in a, you know, I have to sit in a circle of salt and set fire to myself kind of weird way. I don't know what these people do these days, but it's a very heavy, very thrashy, yeah, you can see the Slayer inspiration in there, you can hear it plain, but Jeff's vocals are nasty, really raw performance, the riffs are absolutely just delightful, you can headbang away and eat a toffee apple if you like. This is Halloween all over, nasty stuff. Wouldn't be complete without that album. Okay, so I have to find a way to squeeze a little bit of Powerwolf. Oh, I just gave it away. I was going to say power metal, but Powerwolf. I love Powerwolf. What could be more Halloween appropriate than werewolves and wolves and all things bloody and metal in general? So I am, of course, talking about Blood of the Saints. Fantastic album. What year was this one? Just remind myself. 2011. Okay. That's further ago than I thought, so 10 years. We Drink Your Blood, Murder at Midnight, Sanctified with Dynamite, We Needed Blood, Son of a Wolf, Night of the Werewolves. You get what I'm saying here. This is good, heavy German power metal. It's uplifting enough, so if you want to sit back and chug a load of Hobgoblin, which you should on Halloween, it's a ritual, this is what you want to be listening to. This is uplifting. It's not quite as brutal and savage as, say, Autopsy or Possessed, but it's packed, start to finish, full of great heavy metal, power metal riffs, huge riffs, driving drums, you've got synths galore, all over the place. Brilliant album. If you haven't heard it, you should. That's all I've got to say. Okay, so we're bringing things over to the UK now. We've had the US, we've had Germany. Let's come back home. Let's go to the nation of unforgivable, horrific witch trial crimes for some witchy metal. Witch Sorrow. This was 2018, Hexenhammer. And this is a brilliant album. If you haven't heard of Witch Sorrow, You need to check them out. If you like Doom, kind of heavy metal Doom, there are faster elements in this album, and I think it was No Light Only Fire, the predecessor. This is a great album. This really is a great album. It's full of Sabbathy. Look at that artwork. Trying not to get so much glare, but it's difficult. It's doomy. It's heavy. The riffs are so much reverberation, so doomy. I can't think of another good word for it other than just filthy, nasty doom. Hex and Hammer, The Devil's Throne, Demons of the Mind, Eternal, The Parish, sorry. No, I knew that didn't sound right. God, look at that glare. It's awful. Only 7 tracks. That's all you need. This is a tour de witchery. Doomy. Oh, as heavy as you like. I'm going to have to listen to that again later. Okay. So we heard our Doom. We've slowed down a bit after tearing it up with Powerwolf. We're going back across the Atlantic there, and we're going to go to one of my personal favourite death metal albums of all time, but one of the best death metal debut albums anyway. Nasty bit of work. 6 Feet Under, Haunted. Chris Barnes and the gang. I think it's Jerry Butler, Alan West, Greg Gall as the guys. And this is a superb album. A lot of people give it stick because it's Chris Barnes and he may not be everyone's cup of tea as a death metal vocalist now as to when he was in Cannibal Corpse. But I love his vocals throughout, from Cannibal right the way through. I think it's nasty. He's certainly unique. He's got a unique voice, and this album is heavy as hell. And it's just nasty. It's so low. The mix itself, or the production, maybe it lets it down a little bit in terms of, produced by Brian Slagle, Scott and 6 Feet Under. I think that it needed to be bolder, ballsier. But that's my personal opinion, my humble, lowly opinion. The Enemy Inside, silent violence, serial killery stuff going on there, lycanthropy, werewolves again, Halloween. That's what you want to hear on Halloween. When you see those trick-or-treaters out there, you want to hear a wolf going after them. Still Alive, Beneath a Black Sky, Human Target, Tomorrow's Victim, Torn to the Bone. Brilliant. This is old school death metal, great riffs, really low, thundery bass, great drumming, top-notch album. If you haven't heard it, why not? Okay, so it's getting to the lower end. We had 10 albums. This is now third from the bottom. And I suppose actually these last 3 here are, well, I'm going to say last 4, all to be revealed. But these are probably the ones that I picked first, but the ones I went straight to, no doubt about it. Again, I had Possessed, one of the most evil recordings ever put to tape, in my opinion. How could I forget about this? And it's a 2-for-1, because first album and the legendary EP, we of course have EP 1985, I think it was. Yeah, that's what I wrote down. In the Sign of Evil. Frickin' menacing cover there. That's what you want. And even more horrifying, Obsessed by Cruelty. 1986, so the first album officially. And it sounds nasty. There's no mistaking that these guys led on to a lot of the black metal movement, and you can hear why here. So on the inside, we've got the tracks there from the 2 releases. Outbreak of Evil, Sepulchral Voice, Blasphemer, Witching Metal, and of course obscured by Cruelty. We have the title track, we have Pretenders to the Throne, Volcanic Slut. Oh, what What a great name. Witchhammer, Equinox, Brandish the Scepter, Death Like Silence. I don't think I've listened to that album enough lately. I remember a lot more of the EP actually. Some of the tracks I thought were on the album, Obsessed with Cruelty, are actually on the EP, but man, it sounds nasty. The riffs are raw. It's like you can hear the Venom, you can hear the Motorhead, you can hear the Slayer influence there, definitely, no doubt. But they've got their own Teutonic, raw, nasty edge there, and it is perfect for this wondrously, festively dismal time of year. Raw, heavy, fast, surprisingly bleak and nasty. Perfect for the season. Check it out if you haven't. I'd be very surprised if any qualified thrash fan or black metal fan hadn't come across that one, because that is, that's one of the daddies of that subgenre. Talking of daddies, we'll go with the granddaddies now. Black metal. Venom, 1982. Their second album. There you go. You got the Baphomet there, Goathead. I don't know what that particular symbol would be called. Burning pentagram. Nasty bit of work. Look at the reverse cover there. Of course, this is like the reissue version. You've got the 666 going on there. You've got the whole picture there by now. Chock full of classics. Of course, the title track. We all know that. We've all heard black metal. To hell and back, buried alive, raise the dead, leave me in hell, sacrifice, Countess Bathory, don't burn the witch. Perfect. This is the embodiment of Halloween, surely. There can't be an album better than this for this time of year. My opinion. It's a great album. This is, whatever you want to call it, I would always have a slight reservation if you said this was new wave of British heavy metal, unless it was just for the fact that it was around that time, the late 70s, early 80s. It's not characteristically new wobble sounding. There's not too many similarities between this and Killers or Lightning to the Nations, Wheels of Steel. This has more in common with Motorhead and the bands that were crawling out of the Teutonic areas of Europe at the time. This is a nasty piece of work though. The riffs, legendary. It's just like a buzzsaw to the eardrum. It's nasty, it's heavy, it's fast music. Perfect. Fast music for when you're high out of your eyeballs on gummy eyeballs and sweets. This is what you need. This will match your adrenaline E-number rush. One of the all-time classics. So again, got 2 for 1 here. For the final pick, there is a few honourable mentions. Flag Malfunction. It's Possessed. It's because I've left out Maiden from the list, isn't it? Knew it. Okay. Denmark's greatest export. Merciful Fate. Now, I was struggling between Don't Break the Oath, the second album, and the first album, Melissa. I went with Melissa in the end, and specifically this one, my version has the beginning EP, which the Merciful Fate EP, and some other tracks. I think some B-sides. There might be some live sort of Friday Night Rock Show tracks. I think that was the case actually. Anyway, Melissa, what a freaking heavy metal classic, and it is perfect. King Diamond, I did leave King Diamond off the list because I wanted to have this one on there. So I could have had Abigail, forgive me, or the Fatal Portrait, but this seemed like the right choice there. Evil, Curse of the Pharaohs, Into the Coven, At the Sound of the Demon Bell. Black Funeral, Satan's Fall, Melissa. What a better lineup. I don't know. Is there a better lineup than that? That is certainly a hell of a track listing, and they're all superb heavy metal songs, but it's got that dark, kind of evil, nasty element to it. King's vocals are amazing. There's the guys there, just look at this, just the epitome of evil. They were already dressed up for trick-or-treating. King's been the longest running trick-or-treater throughout time, surely. He's been doing this since, the early 80s. Hank Sherman's riffs, Michael Denner on lead guitar. Oh, this was the classic lineup, I think. This era of the band, just such a good album. And I listened to this one a lot. You don't have to listen to this just solely at Halloween. You shouldn't just listen to it at Halloween. You should listen to it more than that. But it is a absolute classic album. And it's got horrifying album cover. See that, Melissa? An excellent album. So if I could say, of all the albums I've talked about here, if there had to be one, black metal? No, Melissa. That one, at least, you're getting the horrifying banshee screams and getting the amazing riffs and the eeriness of the whole music. So there's my 10. I have some honourable mentions because obviously when I put this list together, I thought, this will be easy. I'll probably pick about 5. And then when you picked about 20, you think, should probably whittle this down a little bit. And that's still missing out a few albums. But you have to think, well, how much relevance to Halloween does this have? Is this just because I like it? Because it's only got maybe one song that's slightly Halloween relevant? So what we're going to do is going to go through 5 of my honourable mentions. I'm going to try and stick that back up because it's going to annoy me. Here we go. Sticky dots. There we go. Eddie's back. Bit of an iced earth theme going on here today. That was unintentional. First honourable mention, heavy metal, power metal, whatever you want to call them, all round great metal gravedigger. The Living Dead. Zombies. The Reaper. What could be more metal and Halloween appropriate than that? Fear of the Living Dead is the most appropriate track on here for Halloween. I thought I can't really justify the entire album because the opening track and the closing track, Zombie Dance, which is a weird one, are really the only 2 tracks that really fit into a Halloween theme, you could say. Overall though, it's a freaking great record. So you should check that out anyway. Certainly a good one for, again, chugging your hobgoblin, setting fire to something, maybe a pumpkin. Perfect soundtrack. In terms of nastiness, death metal, it doesn't get too much nastier than this one. I am, of course, talking about Grand Supreme Blood Court. Bow Down Before the Blood Court. I thought it was self-titled. But this is just a nasty record. This is heavy, this is brutal, it is dismal. It's the story of this horrible, nasty, look at that artwork. This nasty, completely just torture and treatment of prisoners, I'm sure, but tracks like Bow Down Before the Blood Court, There Shall Be No Acquittance, Behind the Defence, Fed to the Boars. This is a nasty public castration. This is brutal. This is a brutal album. Of course, any band that has Martin van Drunen on vocals is going to be a nasty, nasty, brutal choice, and it's freaking great. I love this record. But again, I thought, is it just because it's brutal and it's gory and Halloween? Yes. Now, Halloween is a very dark time of year. It's very, the veil is thin. Ghosts, ghouls, spirits, existential crisis. Scour the depths of your mind. I wasn't quite sure. I instinctively wanted to fit this monolith into the list somewhere. Boasting Geiger's artwork, the mighty Triptychon, the formidable Milana Kazmata. their second album. It is absolutely harrowingly dark and heavy. It's one of the darkest, heaviest, most doomy, oppressive albums, but I love it. Front to back. Triptych, I'm a faithful. Tree of Suffocating Souls, Altar of Deceit, Breathing, Aurora, Demon Pact, God, tongue tied, In the Sleep of Death, Black Snow. If you haven't heard this album, you bloody well need to. Tom G. Warrior, The Mighty, Triptych, Death Doom, long pieces, riffs, crushing riffs, heavy as hell bass, and just annihilation of the drums. All appropriate though. It's not just, pardon me, heavy for heavy's sake. This is heavy music with a heavy atmosphere. The atmospherics are just astounding and it just blows your mind. I've got to get more sticky dots. Damn poster. Okay, we're going brutal again. We're going death metal. And we're going Chris Barnes. But this time, we're going tribute band and Chris Barnes. Torture Killer. Now this is a bit of a strange one, because Torture Killer named themselves after 6 Feet Under song Torture Killer. So it was a tribute band. 2006. Featuring the man himself on vocals, and this is one of my favourite old school death metal albums. Just look at that art. That's horrible. That's really nasty. But it's entirely appropriate to the music. Chocked full of savagely gory, heavy death metal. Just this kind of death metal where you expect that after listening to it, you could run out into the street with a machete and it would be okay because everyone would know he's heard Torture Killer's Swarm. Freaking heavy. Swarm, the opening track, title track, Swarm, Forever Dead, A Funeral for the Masses, multiple counts of murder, obsessed with homicide, sadistic, cannibal gluttony, I killed you. This is horror movie soundtrack. This has to be. This is barbaric. It's so good. If you like 6 Feet Under, if you like Cannibal Corpse, Obituary, that's where I'm going with their sound anyway. But it's got that. I think they are actually European band. Need to check that out. But I think they were. The guys were Europeans, not Scandinavians, but it's got that entombed kind of chilly northern, as in Northern Europe, Scandinavia, death metal orientation to its sound, and it's heavy. It's a great record. So I'm down to my last honourable mention, and I thought I couldn't leave this off, really, for the one self-titled opening track. 1970, the guys that, in my opinion and in the opinion of pretty much everyone else that's a metalhead, the guys that kicked it off with that opening track, Black Sabbath, self-titled album, the Devil's Tritone, Iomi, that riff, say no more. It's doom, it's nasty, it is a really heavy song. You consider the time, 1970. This was just evil. I mean, the rest of the album is absolutely classic as well, but The Wizard, Behind the Wall of Sleep, Nib, Evil Woman, it doesn't quite ooze Halloween atmosphere, but that song with that creepy ass cover, that is Halloween. That's the embodiment of Halloween. So there you have it. No Nonsense Metal. Top 10 picks for Halloween. If you need to get a bit dark and dismal, just feel the creepy seasonal vibes, then go for those. Go for those 10. And if you're still feeling it, then we've got 5 more honourable mentions there. Let's run through them quickly in case you've forgotten. Slayer, Scenes in the Abyss. Autopsy, A Headless Ritual. Angel Witch, Angel of Light. Possessed, 7 Churches. Powerwolf, Blood of the Saints. Witch Sorrow, Hex and Hammer, 6 Feet Under, Haunted, Sodom in the Sign of Evil and Obsessed by Cruelty, Venom, Black Metal, Merciful Fate, Melissa. There you have it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy your Halloween spookiness. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm George. Check back soon for more reviews of all things metal.